Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Minute. Sorry we're a little late today. Got caught up making horrible trash. Um, and we're gonna talk.
Just, our general life
Yeah,
decisions.
yeah, that's all right. Um, I've been editing a lot of footage lately, and
hmm
I want to make like a highlights for Persona to come out maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. I also have I'm sitting on like a shit ton of amnesia memories, and then Sora also has his Monster Hunter show, so I kind of feel bad because I'm like, oh, like we're doing all this stuff, but at the same time, like I haven't been uploading. But that's enough of that. Yo, Amanda, you're sick today, huh?
Yeah, I'm sick. I was coughing all during like recording and stuff, so I'm doing my best right now.
Hey, it's all good. So is Nate, and so am I. So hey, changing of the seasons, huh? Oh fuck. All right, let's
Yep.
go ahead and get into channel news this week. We'll try to keep this one a little on the shorter side. In channel news, we're still going about our streams. If you guys don't know, the schedule for this week and most weeks is going to be Pokemon will be on Tuesdays and Fridays until Pokemon is done. And then I think we'll have to. I don't think we're going to replace that show. I think it's. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but I do know that we're going to probably remove one of those days. The reason why we're going so hard on Pokemon is because obviously it is popular, and we do not want to end up where we are with Fire Emblem, where it is kind of this perpetual thing that it's just taking a long time to get through just because of uploads and all that stuff. So we don't want to kind of end up in that pocket with Pokemon, so we're trying to get through it as fast as we can. With Persona, you guys are still getting Persona on Thursdays. I'm going to be working on highlights throughout, and the idea, ideally, is every 3 episodes or 4 episodes, you guys will get some sort of highlight mix. Those will range anywhere from 4 to 6 to 10 minutes, depending on what I want to do. For the last 3 episodes, for example, I took everything from 6.5, 6.8, or sorry, 26.5, 26.8, and then 27. And I've been throwing them up on the Tumblr and on the Twitter. Something that I actually think is kind of interesting is I'm noticing that we have 731 people who follow us on Tumblr. But obviously after the great purge that happened last year, a lot of people aren't on there anymore. So we're trying to branch out to Twitter. I'm not entirely sure where we should put the highlights up, but they used to be our greatest way to advertise the show. If you guys have any thoughts on where a good social media place to kind of put those up, you just let us know. I'm still I'm almost 30. I have no idea where the fuck I should be advertising to. When it comes to online stuff, I'm very set in my ways. When it comes to where we are, I've had a Tumblr for almost 10 years now, and I'm only recently within this year really using my Twitter. And even then, I get emails every now and then from small indie companies that are like, hey, do you want to play this game? And it's 3 months old, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh no.
Oh, it's so
Yeah,
bad.
that's another thing.
Oh, we got to get better at using our email.
Yes, we do.
Well, so okay, so that's the thing, right? So it's not that I won't check it. It's the fact that when I do check it, I think it gets buried with everything else. It's not that I even use it as a main account email, but somehow I'm getting emails from other shit. A lot of stuff from Twitter. It's a lot of Twitter updates for the Save Point City Vault, kind of highlight thing. But beyond that, if you guys have any ideas about where we should upload the highlights, I'm down to clown. I want to know because I think I'm not good at advertising. I think that's one of my biggest weaknesses as an entertainer. I'm really good at making all the stuff. Cannot sell myself for jack shit, which is 98% of being an entertainer. So we'll kind of go from there. But hey, we've got an interesting show for you guys ahead today because we're going to be talking a little bit about Pokemon, Persona, The Mandalorian. But I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about something kind of dear to me. It's what I've been doing all day today.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So I didn't.
A little important to you.
Yeah. I am an editor. So I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about editing today, and kind of like maybe not necessarily like. I'm trying to think of the way to word it. Maybe not like in the sense of like I'm gonna teach you how to do shit. It's more like I want to talk to you guys a little like about the idea of video editing.
Okay.
So I've been editing since like what 2006, 2007.
Okay.
And I originally started. So I'm not. The story's tale as old as time, right? You make movies with your friends in your garage. And those friends are Sora and Josh, and they have been my fucking friends forever. And we used
Tale is old this time.
true as it could be. Yeah,
Sounds old as rhyme.
you beat up Josh with like props and shit. And you sit there and you're like, "Are you gonna be okay, Josh, for this shot?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." And I'm like, "I'm gonna charge right at you." Oh god, we went to a park one time with wooden weapons and had a fight, and it was dumb.
Oh,
Oh,
like you telling me about that stuff. Just Josh is a cool dude.
you've actually met him now. You've met Josh.
I have actually finally met Josh, but it's like moments when you tell me that. When it's like, yeah, just beat me with fucking
But
whatever.
you see where I'm
My
coming
friend.
from. Like he's very confident when it came to that kind of stuff. And he always liked it when we
He's
did.
such a cool dude.
He always loved it when we did the live action stuff. But the point is that we needed editing software, and on old iMacs back at that time, they had iMovie HD, which was a super limited program to use. Not great. It's great for compositing, but not necessarily great for like editing like PNG files and stuff like that. And so like over time, I would teach myself how to use the program because I wasn't in high school at the time. So like in our specific high school, we had like a video editing class and stuff like that. Like we had like what was it, like video productions, I think was the class, and that taught you how to use very basic like software and stuff like that. And over time, I would find my way into the Adobe suite. I eventually grabbed myself I saved up my money over a summer and got myself a copy of Premiere Pro, and the rest is history, you know? And then Adobe decided to be dicks, discontinued the old versions, and now you have to pay a fucking monthly fee to use editing software.
Adobe, what the fuck?
I love the fact that I can tell the story of like, yeah, I saved up my money one summer, got an official copy of Adobe, and now they discontinued it, and in fact, shut it down. Because fuck me, I guess, and fuck the 300 fucking... doesn't matter. Anyways... So fucking Adobe's a piece of shit sometimes. I love their products, it's so good, but their business practices are just garbage.
Oh, they're real shitty and so shady. It's not even funny. It's like, are you for real? And then the fucking letter they sent out about like, oh, if you're using our old stuff, then that's a fucking infringement on our rights, and you will get sued.
Well,
The
so far
fuck?
so good. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat a dick. I got mine as a student. Eat a dick, Adobe.
It's so weird. Anyways, the point is that the reason I wanted to talk about editing today is because I had a fucking blast today. If you guys go check out the Tumblr and the Twitter after the podcast, I spent a lot of time just like editing like the dumbest shit. Like just like I made an edit of Sojiro dancing like Magic Mike. I made an edit of a JoJo Pokemon crossover. Like I don't like it. I did a lot of dumb stuff, and I did a lot of dumb stuff last night and tonight and and today, and like I did a Blue's Clues bit last night, and I've been kind of like on this art roll. That like I'm just like, yeah, you know, like it I want to, you know, make stuff. I want to like, you know, tell like I'm in this weird moment where I'm like I want to in a lot of my shows, you guys clearly watch it, I'll tell like my jokes are like stories, like they need like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And sometimes it's just about a sing-songy bit, sometimes it's like, I do a whole establishment bit where I'm talking about like what happens, and then I go into like almost like a 3-arc structure of a joke. And today I've been just on a roll, and it feels great. It feels like really good to just, to edit. And one of the things that I kind of told myself, when I was learning how to edit and I was being I'm self-taught. Like I looked up video tutorials and I do all this stuff. Same thing with Photoshop and most of my editing programs, my audio editing and stuff like that. I think it's like this weird self-deprecation that I personally have, but I also know that some other editors have it where they don't consider themselves artists, because essentially what they're most editing when it comes to meme stuff or just these dumb little brain farts I have it's all compositing work where you're taking pre-established pieces and you're kind of moving them to what you want. And so to all those people out there who share my mentality, your art is valid. I want you to know that, because I think I have a really hard time saying that to myself. But if you like, you gotta look at what your goal is for what your art is. Like my goal is in all my performances and everything is just to make people laugh. It's just to have them have a good time. And, and to laugh alongside, not laugh at, obviously. I don't want to be like, like a fucking like clown. Maybe not a clown. Yeah, clown. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about though. Like fucking what, a fucking clown? No.
Yeah, a fucking clown. Just a clown.
No, but like that's my goal. My goal is to entertain, and to kind of put on a show, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like when I did all the stuff I did today, it felt like fucking awesome. Like I'm like, yes, like I might not get the most views, I might not get the most notes, I might not get the most retweets. It doesn't matter, because somewhere out there, somewhere today, someone watched that Shoodle go through Bede's fucking throat and laughed, and I can fucking take pride at that. Like that's my moment of pride when it comes to my art, is knowing that someone got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
So, despite all their business practices, though, I will say that Adobe is one of the it's the best it's the best program I use. I could not get into Sony Vegas for the life of me. I can't do it. But the funny thing is that Premiere Pro, the program I use, is actually a composite. Like that's straight up compositing. If you want to do like crazy elaborate shit, you got to use After Effects. And After Effects is one of those programs I've actually never touched in like the 10 plus years of editing I've been doing. Like I might have touched it like once or twice, but like it's not something that I'm super confident on. I mainly I've been doing composite like my entire time. So anyways, I didn't want to kind of consume the entire podcast talking about like, editing and why like it's cool, and like why you like, if you guys ever get the chance, you should at least try it out, because I personally think it's just like, it's my personal way to do art. I think it's more or less like just like validation, like, hey, if you ever like made an AMV, or if you ever like made a piece of like a video or whatever, and you're like, you look at yourself and you look at the people who like can draw, and you're like, oh, I'm not an artist. Fuck that, you are. You're just a different kind. The same way that a musician is a different artist than like someone who can draw, or someone who makes video games is different than like someone who makes fucking or who writes. So
yeah, dude, they're all artists.
Yeah,
art is only defined as being like creating something that moves people in an emotional way, no matter what the emotion is. As long as you're making people feel things, you're golden. Whether it be like you think it's funny, or this makes you happy or sad or disgusted, it's still art.
Mm-hmm.
Because by looking at this thing, you have given that person that emotion.
Yeah.
And that is what being an artist is.
Exactly. So, that being said, let's go on to our regular scheduled content. I just wanted to get that out there. And I guess one last thing I do want to say real quick is don't let shit discourage you, man. I'm guilty of it myself. Like sometimes if I don't get a lot of views on videos, or if I don't get a lot of like likes or whatever on like something that I worked really hard on, I'll be like, well, fuck. No, just get back on the horse, try something else, Maybe you never know what hits, One of my most popular videos is Under the Sea. I cannot express enough how shitty of a feeling it is when you look at like what's your top like video of all time.
Under the Sea.
It's Under the Sea. It has 19,000 views. Do you have any idea what that's like to like know that like my 11-second piece of shit video I made in 2015 is one of the... This was
your magnum opus.
That worst part is someone left like a comment like on Twitter, I think. Not Twitter, on Tumblr. That was like, this is your magnum opus. And every now and then I think about that, I'm like, is it?
Is Under the Sea really my magnum opus?
Now, the fun...
For real.
No, it fucks with me, dude. It fucks with me every now and then. I'm like, oh, fuck. But like that's the type of shit I like to make, though. I like to make like dumb stuff. There is one tiny... Do not load the video. There is fun fact.
Do not.
Let me sort by my most popular. I am very curious. So the most popular video I have on Velvet Room is what, 19,000? 19,000 is Under the Sea.
Yeah.
On my old channel, I have videos with 46,000 views, 28,000 views, 25,000 views, 15,000 views, 14,000 views, 11,000, 10,000, 9,000. Oh, what a time to be alive. Oh, fuck.
I feel that, like, on a spiritual level. Because I remember having, like, these art pieces up. And just all of the notes and all of the fucking likes and reblogs. And now I'm just like, when do I make art? When does this happen? And then I'll like throw it out there and it's like, yeah, 40. And I was like, God damn it.
Well, okay, so that's the trick, right? So like, I think that like when like not to linger on this subject for too long, but I do think that what it boils down to is it Sora always asks me, Mitchell, whenever we always have this conversation once a year, and he always says, Mitchell, what do you want out of your YouTube channel? Do you want to be big and popular, or do you want to play the things you like? And I think that is a really interesting question, because I don't like popular games half the time. I'm not too big on like the big stuff. I kind of like my niches. Like I love fighting games. I love Persona. Not as much as my fans, as I found out over the years. They know way more shit about Persona than I do. But I do like Kingdom Hearts as much as I wasn't a big fan of 3. I love like niche games. I love RPGs and like kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I have a very weird taste in stuff, but it's enough that it brought like everyone here, including you, including Tabby, including Nate. Like, like my taste in video games is very weird in the sense that like it's very weeby and like it's kind of dumb in that way, but also it's like
very weeby.
It is kind of it's not as weeby as it could be, but like
I sit in that weird pocket of weeby but not current weeby. Like
well I mean I did play
10 years ago weeby.
yeah I'm in a weird time bubble when it comes to like the how do I word this? I'm in a weird time bubble when it comes to the things I like. It almost feels like, because I'm like, oh man, Pokemon! Like I was all excited for that, and like everyone's excited for Pokemon though. But like there's like some games where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play fucking Gundam G Generation Genesis or .hack GU Last Recode. I'm like, yeah, these are games that I'll enjoy, but it's mainly because like I find like I don't know, I don't know what's wrong with me in that sense, where it's like not wrong with me. I don't know like what it is about my taste that like is like I don't like the traditional, like, for example, right? Let's just take a look at. We're not talking about editing right now. I'm gonna put up the channel logo. Okay, let's just talk about the let's look at, like, what is the big games right now? Everyone's playing Pokemon, right? Yeah. And we're doing that too. We're playing Pokemon, but it's because we like Pokemon.
Right.
There's Jedi Fallen Order. I think that's what it's called. There's Jedi. I think that's what it's called. It's a Star Wars game. I love Star Wars, and I
No, not interested.
Okay, so I'm not too Jedi. I don't like Jedi. I like the bounty hunters. I like the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars universe. Like, Jedis are cool in theory before the prequels. And oh god, I feel like this is just gonna go off on a tangent, but I'm going to. Fuck it, why not? So there's a line in episode 4 of Star Wars that said that where it's like, oh yes, this was your father's lightsaber, and then Luke says, or it's like, oh yes, I fought alongside your father. It was, yada yada yada. It was cool. And then Luke's like, you fought in the Clone Wars, and that line, like, when I talk to people like my dad or like older fans, they're like, that line kind of sparks an imagination on a rewatch, because you're like, what the fuck was the Clone Wars? Star Wars was this movie that was different than anything else at the time. And so when you hear the line, you fought in the Clone Wars, to my dad and a lot of older fans, they're like, what is this event? When you think of the Jedi Knights, you think of people like maybe dressed up in like, maybe not in like armor and stuff like that, but you think of people who are like, like gentlemen, like you think of like people of chivalry, knight as a word, kind of invokes this idea of like a chivalrous warrior, in I guess in armor, with a sword and all that stuff, and you're like, oh wow, like that's a cool idea. And like, oh, you fought in the Clone Wars, and so like you have this idea of like what it could possibly be, and I imagine like they're in these like uniforms, and they're fighting alongside soldiers and stuff, and they're using the Force, and it's this cool, bombastic idea. And the prequels establish, well, all of them are hobos. All the Jedi are hobos, like that, with the way that Obi-Wan dressed as and Yoda dressed as, hobos. All of them monks, don't get me wrong, but hobos, because they're humble. Lucas didn't understand what made Star Wars like interesting, and what tickled the imagination of his fans. When he looks at like, in his later years, when he looks at like the Jedi and he's like, oh well, there's a whole order of them. Why are they still hobos? Like I get the idea that like, oh well, they're humble and shit, but they should also look like, knights. They should look like they should have like some level of uniform beyond hobo.
Yeah.
And so when I was younger, when I was a kid, and I saw the Jedi, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. But then as I got older and like I kind of had time, I'm digesting this material in a different kind of way. There's a whole universe of stuff that like is like, the Jedi are interesting on paper. On paper, they are a cool knight order, but the prequels establish that they are hobos who live in space, control the Force, and are kind of weird. They're all kind of weird, right? Like, they're very secretive. They don't really share a lot of their information, and if they do share it, it's in the Jedi archives, and it's a whole thing.
Oh, and for some reason, they all typically pretend to be crazy as to avoid suspicion for some reason.
Yoda did that to Luke in episode 5.
No, you just had me watch the fucking movie. You literally made me watch the first movie, and they all said, oh yeah, Ben, he's crazy.
Yeah, but they're saying he's crazy in the context of like he believes in that weirdo religion, that ancient dead weirdo religion from 30 years ago.
You see that man, son? He's a Viking.
Yeah, that guy believes
that one. He believes in the Greek gods.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But like that's the thing, because now it doesn't make sense, right? Lucas had this idea of how he wanted to portray the fall of Anakin, but then there's all this whole thing where like, oh well, like remember the line, oh your father, Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force. But then you watch that trilogy and it's like he wasn't seduced. That wasn't
The Jedi
seduction.
just suck.
He tricked him. Palpatine tricked him with the promise of like, oh well, we'll save your wife from dying. We'll figure it out. He just tricked him. He wasn't seduced. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole.
Yeah, the Jedi just suck.
There's a whole can of worms there. But the point is that when you give me a Star Wars game and you show me that there's like, oh, you could play a Jedi, I'm like, that's not something I'm personally interested in. I'm more interested in the Mandalorians, in the bounty hunters. I preferred Solo, a Star Wars story, to like, let's say, some of the recent stuff that came out. Even Rogue One on paper is a cool idea. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. The seedy underbelly, like to take from Rich Evans, the seedy underbelly stuff is the best stuff of Star Wars. It's that's what makes it interesting. It's a future, quote unquote, like a futuristic sci-fi world that takes place in the past, but that is dirty, that is grimy, that has all these aliens and cultures and stuff, and that's the stuff that interests me as a fan of Star Wars. When I was younger, I was totally about the Jedi and the Sith stuff. Now that I'm older, I would much rather watch just like The Mandalorian. I have way more respect for like, those kinds of stories and stuff like that. And like, it...
Honestly, I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but there is one game that does allow you to just be a Jedi. And a lot of people were saying that, like, oh, the Jedi one is literally very railroady. It's very straightforward. But if you choose to be a Sith, you can be a good Sith or a bad Sith or just a neutral gray one.
I know what you're talking about. It was their online game, the Knights of the Old Republic, I think.
I think so.
But anyways, not to talk too much about Star Wars. The point was that like, as far as a YouTube channel goes, and until I think otherwise, or until something proves me that like maybe we should change it up, I like to run things here the way that I would run, just the Velvet Room. Save Point City is still under my control technically. I'm still the leader of it, and and in my mind, I'm just like, I would much prefer us having fun, playing something that we like, than shilling out $60 to play something new that we're only going to play once, because whatever,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and maybe that'll change. Maybe one day, like, I'll come back, like, we are getting close to our 5th anniversary here as far as a YouTube channel goes. And maybe then I'll feel different about it. But I also, we've tried doing that stuff. We've tried being there on top of it. We just did that with Pokemon. We had Pokemon a day early compared to everyone else, and like it didn't matter. Like, we still got the same views we would normally get for a stream. You guys, our fans, based on the numbers solely, prefer our streaming content to our video content. Which makes sense because a lot of you guys came from my streaming content than my video content. And so, like, that makes sense to me. We're still uploading Amnesia Memories, by the way, I swear to God. And we just recorded 2 episodes of Fire Emblem, like, today. But the point is that I know where you guys came from. I know where you guys, I know what happened to most of you. Most of you guys will tell me how you guys found the show. Most of it was through, like, Tumblr highlights. Some of it was through, like, searching. But for the most part, like, you all have a show or something that you came for. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, like, right now, it's going to be... When someone asks me that question, it's always going to be, well, I just want to make the show I want to make. And should one day I decide to change that, I will. But I think personally that we are funny and, great and grand. Of course, I would think that because I'm a narcissist. I think that we're funny enough that, that we can hold our own when it comes to, like, doing our stuff. We might not be the most popular show, but I enjoy coming, here, and I love doing my show, and I love doing my podcast, even if it only gets like 20-something views every week, because it's what I like to do. This is something I genuinely enjoy doing. This isn't because I want to become famous or because I want to, I want everyone to know my fucking name. Quite the opposite, actually. I'm a humble YouTuber. The most I want is like 100,000. and the only reason 100,000 is because that's what it's quote unquote sustainable. That's what I want for myself. And then I guess add another 100,000 for each like cast member and crew, right? So like 200,000 for Amanda, 300,000 for Nate. You keep adding it up. But like the point is that I don't want 1 million. I don't want anything like that. I don't want to be PewDiePie or any of that shit. I just want to my goal at the end of the day, my dream is to just make you guys laugh, to continue providing a good time, because you guys having a good time gives me a good time. I'm not perfect. I've fucked up many times on this program, but like every time we come back with a new idea, with a new angle to kind of come at it. We had Velvet Room earlier this year, and we decided to end the Velvet Room. And with Save Point City, we're still kind of feeling it out. We're still trying to understand what exactly you guys want out of like this program, and that's it's experimental. In our first year of Velvet Room, we would upload every single day 10-minute videos like Game Grumps, or 20 minutes or 30 minutes like Two Best Friends Play. Like we had our entire kind of skeleton frame based off of what I considered like successful YouTubers, and that changed. Two Best Friend doesn't exist anymore. Game Grumps as of late has changed their format to 60-minute episodes, and like it's, and we're still we're where we are. Our channel is devoted to streams and videos right now, and that's kind of how I personally just want to keep it. But I guess at the end of the day, all I can say is that like if I can make my goal at some point in my life, we were talking about this earlier. I personally think what's gonna happen is it's gonna be like a Van Gogh kind of thing, where like I'm gonna die, and then like I'm gonna die, and then people will be like, "Wow, this guy was actually kind of funny," and then they'll be like,
"He was actually pretty decent.
He was a pretty decent YouTuber," and then like that's when like all the exposure will happen, right? Is like post death, like all these like videos, like Nippies becomes like, it's like, oh yes,
yes, Dr. Tidbit.
No, Doctor. Who would have guessed such classic characters as Dr. Tidbit would resonate with people beyond post-mortem. That's what I like to think. If I'm in my hospital bed and I'm like, oh man, we still only have like less than 2,000 subs, that's what I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be like, you know what, it'll happen. And then like that's when everyone's gonna pass around the clips and shit. Is you guys need something big like that to happen? It's like, what fucking
I mean, maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe one of us will die instead. Maybe one of the attendants instead will die.
No. You guys need to live on. Carry the legacy.
Carry the load.
Yeah, share the load, says Sam.
Oh no.
Man. No, yeah, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the last scene in Lord of the Rings, and it's just gonna be like, Sam, I can't stay. I've changed. I can't stay in the Shire, and I guess I'm just gonna die now. Later, bro. And I'll just hand the fucking channel off to Nate. Nate can take over the show. He has the keys. He has like a set of keys to the channel. He needs them for his uploads. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So let me make this episode of the podcast my video. Fucking if anything happens to me, Nate has the keys. So good luck. Oh, that's. I don't like how that was your reaction to Nate having control of the channel.
It's me just kind of like, oh Jesus.
What, you think he's gonna turn into a furry channel? That silence isn't.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, okay. We got to stop making fun of him for that, because it's the same. I too enjoy the anthropomorphic animal characters. It's just we make fun of Nate for it.
That makes like one of us.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the other things we had lined up for the podcast today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon.
Long live the
So I beat it.
king.
I beat Pokemon.
Oh no, people are calling me out. That's not a great silence, Amanda. Yeah, I know.
Um,
I'm joking. Nate's fine.
jeez. So I beat Pokemon recently. That game is just really good. I'm so happy that it's doing as well as it did. It currently is the fastest selling Switch game, and not only the fastest, but I think it is the highest selling Switch game.
Really?
Yes, I think it just crossed that threshold, which makes sense because it's Pokemon, you know, and it's on a mainstay device now. It's on the Switch. I know I personally chipped in 2 copies, right? I bought Sword and Shield, one for Tabby, one for me.
That's true.
This is one of the best Pokemon games I've ever played. If you haven't played it yet and you own a Switch, it's a total recommendation. Like, it is so fucking good. My only complaint really is the online. We have some issues here and there. If you guys watched episode 3 of the streams, you know that we had a slight issue with trying to set up like a fight at the end, because as it turns out, for some reason, Nate and I were in 2 different servers and we couldn't like connect with one another, and it was weird. So it is kind of like weird on that end, but I heard that they're going to try to find ways to like solve some of those issues. Beyond that, like, you know, it's just really good to see like the Pokemon community kind of come together and stuff. There is one tiny thing I'm not really enjoying about Pokemon right now.
Oh yeah? What's that?
So I was watching a tutorial on like how to make a lot of cash, because in this game, to do EV training, there is a new way to do it, or not a new way, but like you feed a Pokemon vitamins, and that kind of like if you feed a baby a bunch of vitamins, what it does is it like sets that Pokemon on a track for development. So that when they level up, instead of receiving like random effort values, they're receiving like the proper ones they need to be like a really good Pokemon. For some of the fans who know, I'm a Pokemon breeder. I really like breeding Pokemon. I think it's like something that's really fun and like grindy for me to do. And making custom Pokemon is just really, really fun. But I was looking up a couple of online tutorials. There's a guy named Poketips or something like that. And one of the things that was suggested was you go to one of the little dens where the Gigamax Pokemon come, and what you do is you put a wishing piece in it, and his tip was, before the sentence says "now saving," do not turn off your game. You can see what the color of the den is going to be, and if it's not a deep purple, reset your game. And there's this weird part of me that's like, no, that's like that's scummy to me.
Like, that's cheating.
That's too much. Like, that's too much. Like, if I have to like physically reset my game to get money, that's not how it's supposed to go. That's like if someone was like, how to get a traded Pokemon to both yours and a friend, and it tells you like, or not, like it tells you how to like do the bit where like, oh, if you disconnect the cable, or if you turn the game off during the save, it'll duplicate your Pokemon. And that's a tip. It's like, that's not a tip. That's not how that's actively fighting against the Pokemon game to get what you want. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, no, I do get what you mean.
Ren says, is save scumming too far? I don't think so. Like, save scumming to a point. Like, we did Fire Emblem earlier today, and we made a mistake, and like geez. I save scummed and like loaded a previous one and like fixed it. But I feel like that's different than what that guy is promoting. You know, like it's like, oh well, you know, if you're having a trouble finding a Pokemon, go into your system settings, change the date, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'd rather just wait it out. Like, fuck.
Oh, then actively go in and fuck with the hardware.
Yeah, there's something about that I'm just like, no, like it's like gross to me. I'm like, ugh, like, ew. I don't know, but like it's like, oh, great, poke a tip, but like I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'd rather just wait it out, or just, you know, like, I don't know. There's something about it that just is like scummy, and like, and it's not on paper. It's not scummy. It's just how, you know, you're manipulating the game system the way that it's built. But some like weird hidden part of me is like, ugh. It's a personal problem. It's not like a problem with the guy. I'm sure the guy's a nice guy.
Okay, so I am curious. So if you find that like save scummy, when people fuck with the date and time for like Animal Crossing, do you find that like scummy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that manipulating your hardware to get something like time based is weird to me.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. But like,
But like I'm just kind of curious because games like Animal Crossing are, even like, let's say you pay for like the shop to be put into your town, and they're like, "Okay, great. We'll see you tomorrow. Real time, your time."
yeah, you wait it out.
Oh, okay.
Cause like, okay, so there's a function in Pokemon called Pokejobs, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, oh yeah, we'll increase the IVs of your Pokemon by 96 points. It's a really easy way to get a bunch of Pokemon, like up to 10 Pokemon, IV trained at the same time. Or not IV, EV trained at the same time. Of course, you have to wait a full day. And I see some people will skip in their in-game to like make it so a day has passed. But I'm like, that's cheat. Like, to me, that's cheating. I don't know what it is. There's something about it where I'm like, yeah, because like, look, you could say vitamins in their own right are cheating, right? But vitamins are something the game provides. It's like like, there's ways to manipulate Pokemon natures now through mints. There's like there's ways to manipulate those systems within the game's own parameters. I'm not faking God and going out of my system and like changing the date to be a different date to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line. That's where it's weird to me.
Okay. I was just kind of curious about like your opinion on all of that. Because, well, I do totally understand what you mean with games like Animal Crossing, where it's so low consequence and all it is literally just like time wasting, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I have to wait like 24 hours for the shop to be built. I guess I'll go back out there and go pick some more fruit.
But like, my on the other side of it, like, imagine if a game like 14 could be manipulated in that way, and there's not a global system, right? People would be able to, like, because that's the thing in Animal Crossing. Like, I guess that's up to you, right? It's not a multiplayer game. It's designed for mainly a single player experience with like where friends can come visit, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's take a game like Pokemon where there is a competitive scene for it, or a game like Final Fantasy 14 where, like, you know, like, oh well, I did all my dailies. What if I was able to just, you know, switch to the next day and keep playing? You know, the reason why they're limited is, one, so you come back, keep playing, but also to limit your time playing the game. For some people, they have, like, you know, compulsive needs to continue playing and progressing until eventually they get to their goal. For me, I know I have that problem. Especially when it came to 14 and all the time and hours, like the over thousands of hours I fucking threw into that game. I know, you know, it sucks. But like, when you do your dailies, like, especially when I'm doing like grinding for, like, when I was grinding for Gunblade, or that's not what it's called, Gunbreaker, and like doing some other stuff like that, like, I would have to be like, well, I'm done for today. I'm like, but like, there's timers are put in place for, like, you know, for like certain things, and like, it just feels like you're manipulating the systems outside. Also, Lesbahime made an incredibly good point, because it's what I do. You can farm meows for payday. So fun way to do that, real quick, Lesbahime. Let me give you a real quick thing right now. Is how I make at least 300,000 cash in a period of like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and it's not the most effective way, but it is my preferred method. You go into the tournament post game. If you guys haven't already, get a mystery gift. For everyone who gets the game before January 15th, I think, of next year, there is an opportunity to get a Meowth. The Long Cat Meowth is being distributed right now. And if you don't get it now, there is a good chance you're not going to get it. Because unless they throw him out into the Gigantamax raids, I don't see it happening. And the reason I say that is because Eevee and Pikachu are also, like, those Gigantamax forms are exclusive to whether your save files are there or not. So if you didn't get Let's Go Pikachu, you're not getting Chubb's Pikachu. If you didn't, we did Let's Go Eevee, so I have an Eevee.
I love that you just call him Chubb's Pikachu.
I mean, that's what he is. So, like, you're not getting him. So, what you can do is you can get a mystery gift Meowth, train that shit up. I threw vitamins into him and stuff like that. Level him up, and then what you can do is when you enter the league challenge and stuff like that, his Gigantamax form has a version of Payday that if it hits 3 times, depending on how much strength he has, like if you level him up stupid high like I do, like he's like 91 right now, I'm more than sure that he's going to be my first Pokemon to 100 in this game. But like you can make a max of 99,999 extra cash just from the paydays. And that's not including the 16,000 you'd already get if he has Amulet Coin and some other stuff attached to it. Like, there's ways to do it without manipulating your Nintendo Switch's system. But anyways, that's enough about Pokemon. Pokemon's great. It's awesome. I'm doing the Battle Tower right now, and I'll tell you guys more about that next week. That shit is hard, but I love it. It's like such a good challenge. Let's talk about episode 3 of The Mandalorian. Spoilers for episode 3 of The Mandalorian. It's good.
It is really good.
This show is what I want Star Wars to be. It is gritty. It is fun. The main character doesn't have a name. It feels very much like a Western. I don't want to talk too much about it because we did talk about it last week, and I don't want to reiterate on things. If you guys have seen Baby Yoda, of course you guys have, because he's everywhere.
Yes. I love Baby Yoda so fucking much.
He is so cute.
He's so cute. Oh, something about Baby Yoda. I recently read that, like, literally right before we went on stream, Disney, in an effort to sort of keep all of the Baby Yoda shit in check, has been flagging GIFs of it.
Why?
It's something to do with, like, them trying to, like, prevent piracy of the show.
Through GIFs?
Yeah, it's super fucking weird, but I guess, like, because Tumblr is, like, covered in Baby Yoda GIFs, and Disney keeps flagging it as piracy, because you're taking, like, images of, like, moving images of their show. That's a paid thing. So they're flagging it as, like, a piracy thing.
But for a lot of people, that's how they're discovering the show. All right, we're not getting into that.
Yeah, that makes sense. No.
We're not talking about it. So episode 3 was incredibly well done. By the way, I wanted to say real quick, one of the coolest fucking things about episode 3 is I want to make sure I get the name right, because episode 3 is probably the first 3 episodes have been so solid. 3 is probably my favorite. I want to get the name right.
Okay.
So hang on 1 second. I want to get like a wiki page up or something. It was directed by... Okay, so episode 3, or chapter 3, The Sin, one of my personal favorite episodes of The Mandalorian. It's seeped in its culture, and like in the Mandalorian culture, in the for what we can tell, like the small snippets they do give of us, they give some more details about the Mandalorian, the main character, as like, you know, what happened to him and like what happened to his parents. And my favorite part about it is it threw me off every single time, because at first I was like, oh, the show is showing us like stuff of the Empire. No, it's not. This is fucking Clone Wars shit that they're showing us for his flashback. These are droids who are fucking his day up. And it's like, oh,
Oh,
fuck. Like, that's not
okay.
the Empire. That's the Clone Wars. And so this character is older than I think he is. Um, but like it's definitely, I mean, that's the thing, it's still interesting, it's still cool. But the reason I want to talk about kind of a little bit behind the scenes stuff is while the show is written by Jon Favreau, this episode was directed, and I cannot emphasize this enough how cool this is. Deborah Chow, not only the first female director for a Star Wars property, in live action Star Wars property, but an Asian American.
Yeah.
And how fucking awesome that was, because Kathleen Kennedy has kind of promised us this idea that we would eventually get like like a female director for a live action Star Wars, and it didn't happen. We have J.J. Abrams, we had Ryan Johnson, and then we're going back to Abrams to fix what Ryan Johnson did. And I just wanted to say that, like, one, that's really cool. And I'm not trying to virtue signal or whatever the fuck you might call that. I don't give a fuck about that. What I'm trying to get at is like, look, like, The Mandalorian is proving to me that, like, having a super diverse set of, like, of directors and stuff. The previous episode was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. I apologize, I fuck up people's names all the time. He's a Nigerian American director, and I'm not sure if you guys heard the movie. It's called Dope. He directed that, and like back into like 2015. But like, you have very talented, diverse group of people working on this project, and it is just, to me, it's just like all these different voices who are talented and wonderful are coming together and producing a show that's just awesome. It's so good. The Mandalorian is such a good goddamn fucking show. And like Ren is right. Kathleen Kennedy promised a lot of things that she didn't deliver on, but I just want to say that if at all, I would just like it if Jon Favreau took over Kathleen Kennedy's position, because he knows what's up. This is The Mandalorian is the series, Favreau is the creator for that. He's the head writer. He's the showrunner. He's the co-executive producer alongside Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni. But obviously, I don't know how much Kathleen Kennedy actually gets to say in this. I mean, she gets the ultimate say, but I don't know how much she's in the creative process. When Favreau has, like, when he's Tommy Wiseau'd himself.
How fucking good it's going, based on entirely how good it's going, I want to say she has about no say in this.
I'm sure she's just like approving things.
Yeah.
But there will be 8 episodes for this first season, and like I cannot wait to see how this goes. And like it's definitely interesting. And the thing that I really love about this is the Mandalorian culture is something that it seems that they're rewriting some of the stuff that happened in the cartoons. It's almost like Favreau, I don't think, cares about that, the cartoon canon of the Mandalorians. It seems that he's just kind of focused on their own stuff. And you have like this very interesting soundtrack, and you have this very interesting culture that's coming out of Star Wars. A series that kind of never really was about, like, until recently, it wasn't really about, like, having that, like, emphasis on that kind of stuff. So once again, well, I did say spoilers. I don't want to talk too much about it, just because it's like, hey, if you haven't checked it out, please do. This is probably one of the best Star Wars properties that I've seen come out in a very, very long time, that has nothing, for now, nothing to do with like Jedis and Sith and all that shit. It's just about people who live on the Outer Rims, their lives, the way that the Empire is portrayed as the post-Nazi kind of shit that takes place after Episode 6.
Honestly, if they do get the Jedis and the Siths involved, the only thing I want to happen is for Mando to just take Baby Yoda and be like, "You're both assholes, fuck off," and just run off.
Well, that's the fear, right? Baby Yoda clearly has is force sensitive, and so I wonder if it's like, oh well, it's an Anakin thing, where it's like, oh, we got to have that baby for our purposes. The Jedi and the Sith are not perfect. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The Sith were never perfect, but the Jedi aren't perfect either. In the old canon, they did things that were like a little much, and that's the whole reason why like you have the equalizers. But that being said, let's kind of move on from the Mandalorian. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's really good. I know that like it's on Disney Plus, and I know that Disney is slowly becoming the giant marketing titan that it is. But I cannot emphasize enough how like really into this I am. Like the production value is fucking beyond what it should be. Earlier this year, I got into a show called Vikings, another show that had a really good production value for what it was. You're just not getting a lot of shows like this. You're not getting a lot of shows that are just seeped in like its own world and culture. And if you do, half the time it's not really executed well enough. The thing that I would say that makes The Mandalorian different than some of the other shows like it is it knows exactly how much information to give you at a time. Even for old Star Wars fans like me, I don't know half the shit they're talking about sometimes, and I have to look it up. And like, for an audience member, like let's say like Tabby, or let's say like you or Nate, like you guys don't know any of this stuff, but like it's still gripping, and it still is making you want to come back to it. So, and I hope they never show his face. That's my other big thing.
Yeah, please never show Mando's face, and if possible, don't give Baby Yoda a name.
Yeah.
What I honestly just want is like a tiny baby Mandalorian Yoda. He doesn't even have. They don't even have to call him a Mandalorian. I just want them to be happy. It's never gonna fucking happen.
Oh man. All right, let's go ahead and get to the last image, the last topic of the night, which is Persona 5.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Persona 5. So the streams have been happening for the last 3 weeks now. We've been doing the streams on the show. Game Window and I have been having a really good time with this. And one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about was Persona 5 and how it's currently being treated by Atlus. So I know a lot of fans of Persona who came in through Persona 5 and have kind of worked their way backwards. That's, and that's kind of like an interesting way to come about it. I think my only issue is then I'll talk to people who are like, well, 3 didn't have, this system, or, it's not as refined. I'm like, yeah, it's not. Have you played Persona 2? It's like,
you want to start guessing when they started social links? When they just started dicking around with the idea of social links, or the fact that you have a bitch of a time getting to here because gays?
Yeah.
They're old games. They're real old games.
Like
2 was straight up banned here because of there was a gay option.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But like the point is that there's a lot of Persona fans that I know and I talk to who got in because of 5. The first one I think of at the top of my head is Nate. Nate didn't play the other ones. He mainly knows 5. He's played through it multiple times. He knows these characters. He knows this stuff. But something that I've been kind of reminded of, and the way they're currently treating Persona 5 is the way that they treated Persona 4. Now, for those of you who don't know, there was a time where Atlus wasn't owned by Sega. And during that time, there was a lot of kind of different things happening with the company. You had you had Persona 4 the anime, which I still argue is one of the best game adaptation animes ever produced. I think that the Persona 4 anime is one of the greatest, just one of the best anime. I'll just call it out for what it is. I think it's fucking awesome. It doesn't do anything super crazy in terms of what it does in terms of its visuals and shit. But I think it really stands out. I could show someone who had my mom really likes anime. She likes older stuff, obviously, but she enjoys anime from time to time. One of the biggest JoJo fans I know. She really, really likes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
That's amazing.
Hates the dub though.
That's so fair. Oh my God.
She doesn't because she'll always make fun of Joseph. And she's trying really hard not to say the word, really tries really hard not to say oh, he sounds so gay, but that's what she's trying to say, and she's trying to not emphasize that. I'm like, yeah, mom, yeah, it's
yeah, mom, go on.
He just sounds so. And then she'll imitate him too. Like she'll imitate it. Like, you can say it, mom. You can say that they made him sound flamboyant. And then I told her that one time, I'm like, you could say that he sounds flamboyant. She's like, yeah, he just sounds so gay. And I'm like, okay, mom, you said that really weird. I don't know how to feel about that. No,
it just sounds so gay. No, I don't know. For me, it's mostly just the weird shit he says. Like, when his fucking hand starts to go crazy and he's like, oh, quickly fingers!
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. I do... And that's the thing. For fans who have been long enough here, you guys know I'm a huge fan of BlazBlue. Fucking... Oh, BlazBlue is like my fighting game, like Messiah. I love that game so fucking much. But, like, in Japan... Joseph's voice actor is also the voice actor of Ragna, so in my mind I had like a pretty good idea of what he sounds like. It's that like early 10s kind of like anime protagonist, like deep voice, like cool edgy shit, and you would just apply that to Joseph, and Joseph's like more has levity to him. He's like a trickster, he's fun, he's big and muscular, but he's fun. But in the English dub, his voice sounds way different than like what he sounds like in Japan. And that's kind of what the problems are, what kind of causes the problems. But the point is that my mom watched Persona 4 roughly around the time she watched Psycho Pass, and she really enjoyed the show. It's one of her favorite animes. She loves the characters. She loves kanji. She loves like the way that it's built. My mom's really big into mysteries, and she was drawn in with the premise of that.
Oh, that's better than my mom's taste in anime, which tends to be crime based. So she's like a big fan of like Trigun and Gungrave. And those were hers. She loved the shit out of them, so much so that she went out of her way to go personally buy the Gungrave DVD box set for herself.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, she has all of them. She still has all of them. Just in her fucking TV stand. It's fucking weird.
My mom has she really likes Psycho Pass up until the ending. And I've never told her that there's a Psycho Pass season 2. But enough about anime moms. The point is that Persona did like Persona 4 was treated very differently than, let's say, Persona 3. When Persona 3 came out, it came out like somewhere in the middle of the 2000s, like 2004, 2006, something like that. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not that YouTuber. I'm not going to be like, Persona 4 came out, Atlas produced Persona 4 in 2006 to rate, rave, and review. I'm not an essay-based YouTuber. I'm not doing that. I don't know why else to make fun of them. I watch them all the time. Fucking... But, when it came out, though, there was Persona 3, then there was Persona 3 FES, which was a continuation off of the story to kind of clarify what happened at the end of Persona 3. It's kind of left up in the air, and it was a continuation to kind of explain a little bit, not only of the future for the characters, but also the past. It dives into some details about some characters' past, like Akihiko and Mitsuru, and it kind of goes into that. When Persona 4 came out, like, it was big, it was still another big release. But of course, here in the States, it was kind of niche. It kind of went under the belt. You saw it maybe once or twice in game magazines, in the same way that you would see some stuff in, like, let's say, a Shonen Jump magazine. It was advertised, it was rated M for mature, but like a lot of people didn't know why. They couldn't really explain what the game was about. Because they would give it away, would give away the whole thing. But Persona 4 is a great game for what it is worth. I played the game like 3 or 4 times, Golden alone.
Oh yeah.
And Golden, like Persona 4 was the one that originally received what we're now seeing with Persona 5, where you have the re-release on the Vita called Golden, which is one of the greatest editions of that game. Out of the two, like, fuck it, yeah, of course it is the better version. You had You have a fucking Persona 4 Dancing All Night, which was, I remember at the time that was kind of a weird one, but like at the time, but like also at the time, you gotta remember that Sega had recently purchased Atlus, and Sega produces the Diva Project games. So it was kind of like a natural thing to do, like people love these anime, as these anime characters that like have been around for a while, and they promoted it. There was also the one of the greatest fighting games of all time, Persona 4 Arena, also released. And I know that I'm saying blasphemy to some people, and to those people I say, get on my level. No, fuck that.
Get on my Persona loving level.
Yeah, I'm a complete piece of shit and trash, so I'm just putting that out there. But
get down to my level.
Get down to my level.
Sink to my level.
Sink to hell. No, so like there is a lot of stuff that like happened with Persona 4. They had a golden anime, which wasn't nearly as good. In fact, I would argue that it was almost problematically bad. Because essentially it wasn't a it wasn't like a redo of the original anime with a new animation style, or like even like updated like animation. It was mini episodes that took place randomly throughout like the time in the original anime, because they didn't know how to handle that, I guess. And ironically, I would argue that while Persona 4's anime is one of my favorite animes of all time, Golden's anime is actually one of my least favorite. Just because of how they handled it.
Really?
Yeah, it's not great. It's good if you're into it, but like at the time it had been a few years since I'd watched the original anime, and I'd played Golden multiple times. I love Golden, one of my favorite games, I think one of the only reasons why anyone bought a fucking Vita. And
real.
Like it's I really wish the Vita did better. I really, really wish the Vita did better.
Yeah.
And some part of me wishes that, like, if we're not going to get, like, Persona 5 on the Switch, like, besides Scramble, and possibly a port of Royal, we don't even know about that, I would absolutely adore it if they somehow were able to put Persona 3 Portable and Golden, at the very least, on the Switch. Like a Golden remaster, because I do feel like that game will be lost with time, just because of the lack of the Vita. But the point is that what we're seeing with Persona 5 is a lot of what we saw with Persona 4 when Sega owned it, or like when Sega got their hands on it. So there's a lot of people I know who are like, why are they doing this with Scramble? Like, what's the point of Scramble? What was the point of saying Persona 5S and having all those people speculate that it's going to be a Switch game, say it's a Switch game, and then also release it on the PS4? Marketing is my answer to that. Marketing. But also, the way that Persona 5 is being treated right now is just, it's an echo, It's like Sega will take these games and kind of make them into, like, kind of mold them and mesh them into the pizza dough of what they want. Now, I personally am hoping for Persona 5 Arena. I hope that they kind of continue that trend. Will we get it? Probably not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you do have to keep in mind it is Sega. The only reason that fucking Atlus started really going hard into Persona 4 was because they were going bankrupt, and Persona 4 was their most popular game.
That is true.
And then after Sega buys fucking Persona and Atlus, fucking they went fucking hard. Just hard into the look at our shit, look at our shit, look at our shit, look at our shit. You liked 4, right? You liked 4, right?
It is kind of funny to think about now, because I remember, like, I spent so much time playing like Persona 4. I played Golden like I said, like 4 times, and I really love those characters. Like I like early 2010s, like 9 years now. That game was just like, I was on it. I loved those characters. I loved everything about it. And they're trying to do that with like the Persona 5 cast. And while Persona 5 is wildly more successful than, let's say, 4 or 3, I would almost argue that like it almost loses the same magic touch, you know? And maybe that's just me. But like I have noticed that like while Scramble was announced and while some of these other projects have been announced, the thing that made 4 and its sequels kind of work in my head was like they're not criminals. They're not like they're not like country or nationwide fucking quote unquote. I don't believe they're evil or like they're quote unquote criminals, but like, you know, society branded them. You know, like they're the vigilantes. You know, they're like Robin Hood. As I look at Akechi, fucking like you know they have their like, you know, they're kind of their brand, and there's a part of me that for some reason is just like that doesn't add up. You know, some part of this isn't adding up to me.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
But like I'm also excited, you know. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and like, you know, be like, oh, I'm not a Pokemon fan, right? I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, Pokemon's gonna suck. Time to buy 2 copies of Pokemon to show how much it sucked. No, I'm probably gonna get these games. When I already talked to Gangwood about it, when Scramble comes out, when like some of these other games come out, depending on where we are in Persona 5, we will take a break to touch those other games for like a couple weeks. Like we already know what we're doing. Like Persona is kind of like Gangmudo's and Mine Identity, and like that's like what that's what we're going for, you know. And I still, you know, but I think my one tiny issue, it's weird because I also don't like how they kind of portray Ren Amamiya. In a weird way, I think I preferred Soji.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Yu Narukami.
Oh fuck that! I'm never gonna get over that. They fucking gave him a name. Why did they change it?
Because it was the manga name.
I don't give a shit.
Like
fucking, it's the same thing with Minato.
Oh, Minato Arasado versus what is it? Makoto Yuki.
Yeah. Okay, so Soji Seto was Yu Narakami's original name, and it's what I named my fucking playthrough as. So for the entirety of my playthroughs, my several playthroughs of fucking Persona 4, he was Soji Seta. And when they went, Yu Narakami, I went, no. That's not his name.
But I mean, I think they do stuff like that though, because and this is kind of like my own little, because at the time I was like, well, why do they do it? I had to kind of justify it to myself. How I always saw it was like, oh, it's a different playthrough, you know, like Ren Amamiya is his name for like the anime, but like, you know, in the manga it's a different quote unquote playthrough, so it's, you know, Akira Kurosu, you know.
No.
And it sucks because then the anime name becomes the name forever. Like, you know, I think that's my one thing is like, Yu Narukami became the name for every version of Soji, and while we're used to Minato Arasado,
like, why even let you fucking name him, dude? If you're gonna give him a name and you're just gonna change it later, why let us name him?
I mean, yeah, yes, but also, see, Final Fantasy did that for a while, right? FF7, FF8, FF9, you can change the character's name, but in FF10, they actually made it so that, like, while you can change Tidus's name, you can't change anyone else's names, except for, like, the summons you get later on. And the reason why is because it got very hard to do an entire game without saying that guy's name. You could do it.
Yeah. They
did it. One of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy X. But it's noticeable. It's noticeable that they don't ever say your name. And it's even more noticeable in FF 10 when they have to, they're like, oh yeah, I do miss him, and like they have to kind of like be very vague about it. But I mean, what they might do in future Persona games, I think if they're smart, or if they're like Square, I should say, which that doesn't necessarily mean smart. But if they're like Square,
no, it doesn't.
I would say that what they might do is they might make it so that, like, in the next game, they might not let you do that. But also having their own name has added a lot of fun. I mean, like Pierre Gangle. I look at that guy right there who's Ren Amamiya, who's suave and cool and has like, you know, like, oh, he's the ideal trickster, right? I look at that guy and I'm just like, all I see is Pierre Gangle. All I see is my goofball boy.
All I see is this dumb boy.
All I see is this dumb boy who does flips and rolls because he's really athletic when he wants to be, but also not athletic at all.
And also, everybody in this lineup he probably has a crush on.
He has had sex with almost every person in this lineup except for Morgana.
Except for the cat, for obvious reasons.
Right. Like, that's my character, right? Like, that's the trick to naming your own character. When I look at him, I see Pierre Gangle, the goofball, like, extraordinaire, who can't draw. and like isn't like is pretty okay at some things but not great at everything.
Yeah.
But like that's the magic of like that of the Let's Play though. Like that's the magic of that. And that's one of my issues. I think when I was watching the anime for Persona 5, one of the things I did have an issue with was like how they kind of made Ren. I preferred it when they did it in the Persona 4 anime where Soji had a lot of options, but there was a lot more diversity in his options in Persona 4, and some of those options were just straight up being a weirdo. And in the anime, they did a lot of the weirdo options just for comedic effect, and it like super worked. You know?
Yeah. Oh my god.
So, oh god.
Y'all really should go watch that fucking edit Mitch made of fucking Gangle.
Yeah, if you guys are on on Twitter or Tumblr, we do have now we have like a definitive Twitter. We've had it for a while, but now I'm uploading stuff to it instead of having like channel updates and stuff like that. Which I probably like if we have like emergencies and stuff where we can't do a stream, I might post it up there. But for the most part, that channel or that feed and the feed on Tumblr are designed to house my highlights, which are just for advertising purposes and also because I think they're really, really fun to make, which goes back to the original topic, Adobe Premiere Pro. But the reason I wanted to talk about Persona was because I'm rediscovering my love for 5. 5 is really, really good. It is, I can't, Sora always says he kind of wishes I didn't do Persona 5 for the stream because he wishes I played it on its own without, like, you know, gang mudo or, like, making the jokes that we do and all this stuff because he wants to know my opinion on that. But I can't see it separated now. You know? It's been years, you know? Like, I look at him, I don't see Ren Amamiya, I see Pierre Gangle. I see my dumb headcanon of this character, and it's this character that I've grown to love, you know? And I see all these characters and stuff on the lineup, and it's like, I don't see them as, you know, it's unfortunate that I'll never hear Yusuke's real voice.
Yeah, no, I fucking played through it and fucking, I don't know, whenever I see Yusuke, I only think of yours now. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that boy. That's what he's like. And then when fucking people are like, oh, look at him, so suave and so artistic and just such a good boy. And I was like, who is this? Who is this child?
I also, something that I really know, I like about Gang Mudo is she had no idea that Morgana was a dude.
Really?
Yeah, so like if you ever watch the old episodes, or if even some of the modern ones, the newer ones, you'll hear her refer to Morgana as a girl all the time because that's just it. And like she's apologized about it before, but I'm like I don't really give a shit.
I don't really care either. I mean, to be fair, they named the goddamn cat Morgana.
Right. So, and I think
this is my lovely cat, Karen. And and he is a boy cat.
Yeah, Karen the boy cat.
Why the fuck did you name it Karen then? For shits and giggles.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think that's what it is. But at the same time, I've heard her refer to Morgana as a girl like throughout my entire time playing this game.
Help.
Well,
it doesn't help that Morgana was voiced by a girl.
Well, yeah, but also like Gang Mudo's Morgana voices to me is the definitive. That's the trick, right? I've ruined this game for me because I look at each character in that lineup. I'm like, oh yeah, I voice him, and him, and like. It's ruined. It's done. Like, you know, like it's over. I look at Ren Amamiya. I have no idea who voices Ren. All I know is that whenever I imagine him, it's just Mishima. Like, hey Ryuji.
My God.
Like he's all happy all the time. I've ruined this game for me. like any semblance I had of like what this game could have been, it's gone. It's done. Oh, fuck. I'll look at Ryuji and it's always my voice. It's always like Yusuke. It's always my gimmick. It's fuck. I look at now we changed Takechi's voice on Saturday because I don't want to do the British voice.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Now he's just seductive.
Now he's just a suave motherfucker.
Yeah, that's it. That he's Ren Amamiya now.
Oh no, Ren Amamiya, that's why he's fucking going after you. He's like, look at what you've done to my game!
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, he takes his mask off and like it dissipates and it's not Akechi, it's Ren Amamiya.
Look at what you've done to my game and my friends.
You've made my game so gay!
What the fuck is up with the polypile?
You're only allowed to date one person, but I want to date them all. What's up with your voice? You're not cool at all.
Why are you being like this? Why are you making everyone like this?
What? Yusuke doesn't have an accent. He's voiced by McCree.
Oh no.
That's the detail I remember. That's right. He's voiced by McCree.
Matt Mercer, you son of a bitch.
Look, I don't like the way he's talking to us, man.
Fucking A. But no, like, I would love that. That's the headcanon for your guys' playthrough. Is that he's actually just the original Ren, who's just like, how fucking dare you?
Could you draw that? Could you? I want that now. I want that as the canon.
This is the canon. That you are a fucking imposter that's ruined his life.
We like it because we are not suave, cool Ren Amamiya. It is him going into another dimension. He's going turbo.
Turbo. Oh my god, he's going turbo.
He's like, what the fuck? Like, what have you done? What kind of name is the Dongster?
I know. Did you fucking name our team the Dongsters?
What
the fuck is your name? What the fuck is your name?
Pierre Gangle?
Are you fucking for real?
Oh
Gangle?
God. That is, oh my god. That I don't care how this turns out. That is the, like, I want, if possible, I want to like have like the end, like this, like the game ends, and then it's like hold it, and then there's just an extra scene that we've just animated out, and it's just that. It's just Akechi the black mask Akechi is just Ren Amamiya.
Oh my god, now everybody's like, Akechi has to accept his inner self. His inner self is Gangle. Is the shadow self.
Yeah, the shadow self is just Gangle in this universe that we've thrown him into.
And he has to go into the TV to go save his friends from his shadows. I hate this.
I mean, I kind of like it here. I don't want to go back.
No. No, God. No, please.
We're serious people who dance all-star night.
We're serious people We were getting chased by cops. Like in the first fucking 2 minutes of this goddamn shit.
We're serious. We are a serious rated M game.
I got drugged and beaten by cops in the first 2 fucking minutes of this fucking game.
And the game was like, yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was rude, but joke's on them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep with her sister.
I already did. I did too. And me.
Meanwhile, fucking, he just has his fucking face in his hands going, no.
Like it's like they're having that moment where it's like, yeah, you know what Shadow me Gangle thinks Red Mia is the
shadow self. He's like, no, I'm not the shadow.
You're the shadow.
What the fuck? You're the shadow. You!
Morgana, you're supposed to be a guy! What? What are you talking about? What if we just gave you a big Phantom Thieves hug and they start like circling around him and then Ren pulls out a gun?
He's like, I'm not dealing with this.
We are a serious game. We're rated M for mature. Yeah, because of all the sex we have. No, not because of all the sex we have.
No! Don't touch me. You bring it in for a big old hug.
Yeah, they do the bit from like the Grinch, where they're trying to circle Ren and they're doing the ha hoot dorpus ha hoot.
No.
Do you want to meet Choco-kun? What the fuck is a Choco-kun?
What in the fuck? Meanwhile, Misha was just like, guys, fucking, and he's like, what have you done to them? What have you done?
Ichika. Oh yeah.
Oh no. And it's just Sojo comes fucking waddling out.
Oh no! I was too busy being a male stripper.
Oh god, what the fuck? No.
We are a serious game made for mature people with high IQs. We do dancing all night. We do Persona 5 Scramble. We do not tarnish the name of Persona 5 by
Now get into the cat bus and let's go.
Did you guys at least take Kamoshida seriously?
Eggman.
Oh god.
Jesus.
Like, did you guys at least take Kamoshida seriously? We took him about as seriously as we can.
As seriously as, like, physically allowed.
we kind of just, like... What about Madarame? How do you guys treat Madarame? Ooh.
Why is he sounding like that?
Oh, my nippy.
Oh, no! He fucking led to so many people dying. How could you just do that?
I'm a horrible person. Don't touch my big weasel. My little Willy. This conversation has just become Persona 5 the greatest hits and how Ren Amamiya would hate every single one of these hits.
Oh no.
What the fuck is a car dealership wizard?
What the fuck is this? Oh no.
I'm sorry, did you fuck Ryuji? I fucked all of them! They're my friends, and I love them very much. They're also my partners, which is weird, but also cool.
They're my friends and my partners, and I've literally fucked all of them.
All of them!
Not the cat, though.
Not the cat, though.
Not the cat.
I
do get in him, just not like that.
Yeah. Why are you like this, man? Snap out of it! You're Ren Amamiya! You're supposed to be cool!
Meanwhile, fucking...
Am I not cool?
He's like, da-da-da. fucking just starts whipping out the guitar, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
I think I could sing a song about this.
No, where did you even pull that out of?
You're supposed to have a sword and be Japanese and cool. What accent is that? You know what? I actually have no idea myself. It's a exotic TM.
Exotic, ambiguously brown.
Oh god.
Plus guitar.
Oh man. Oh god damn it. I want this drawn. Also, I'm trying to tag everything on Tumblr, all the highlights with Pierre Gangle. Just because if we ever get fan art or like fan stuff or just like posts, I want Pierre Gangle to be the tag so that like I know. But like fuck, dude, we have to do this, right? Like we have to do this. Like this has to be the canon ending to RP5 playthrough. Akechi, Akechi comes up. Akechi, you're okay. And then he removes the wig.
He just rips the wig off, pulls off this Mission Impossible styled mask. Fucking, it's just right. It's Akira.
I want. If we ever do that, I want Ren Amamiya to be like the suave, like cool voice, you know. Like, how dare you do this to us, Gangle? You're ruining our reputation.
My twin brother, Gangle.
But we're having so much fun.
No.
We go on dates with our friends. Teacher does our laundry. What?
She does her laundry in a maid uniform. It's great.
Togo's our friend too. She's over there, see? And she like waves hi.
Fucking what a mess.
Mishima does all our marketing. Oh god. Anyways, guys, we got like so sidetracked, but like I love that.
Oh, I know. That's the goal.
Oh man. Anyways, guys.
No.
Thanks so much for coming to another episode of Save Point City, or not Save Point City, Mitch's Mega Minute.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
God damn it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with all your friends. Like, if you guys enjoy these episodes of the podcast, you know, go ahead and like share with all your friends, yo.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I don't care how many views this podcast does. I'm gonna fucking for every week we do the Velvet Room or Save Point City. I'm doing my podcast. Even when we did Velvet Talks, like I just like the podcast format. I feel like I can get a lot of shit out that I want to say. Otherwise, it kind of seeps into the show, and I don't like it when it does that. We had a really big problem with that, like when we did some of the Super Mario stuff, and Gangmuno and I did, because we would talk about Steven Universe, like, for episodes, you know?
Yeah. Because
there's just so much to talk about, and they were only like 10 minutes apiece. So, like, yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out, like, another episode of Bitches Minute. Amanda, we have to, right? We have to make that canon.
This is the new goal.
Yeah.
Fucking just gotta make at least an animatic of it.
Like, if we can, even if, like, hell, like, with my shitty editing skills, I could probably, like, cobble up something. Like, all we'd have to do is just get, like, yeah, like, an animatic of it of some kind, and just have, like, oh my god. And then, like, that's just how the stream ends. Like, just forever and always. The real boss is just Ren Amamiya.
I know, the final boss is you fucking fighting your quote-unquote shadow self.
Oh my god.
Oh, holy shit.
It's like, I know how we'll stop him. I'll cast Choco-kun. Like, Choco-kun comes and, like, splurts a bunch of incredibly hot chocolate on him.
And meanwhile, he summons the actual Arsene and sets everything on fire. Just, oh shit.
Oh, man. It turns out that our playthrough is just a glitched version of P5. Alright, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching another episode. Next week, let's see here. We're not. Oh, no Persona 5 this week. I need to emphasize that. I said something about it on the episode itself, but there is no P5 this week. It's Thanksgiving here in the States. I'm not going to be in town. So there's just none of that. But we will have Pokemon this week. That's still going. And yeah, I don't think there's any games or anything besides like Amnesia and Fire Emblem that are going up. And then also you guys are getting the highlight mix when I'm done working on it sometime, either Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, also go check out those highlights because I've been putting a lot of edits in them recently, and I think they're pretty fucking good, if I say so myself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All
The
right.
Gangle fucking not being able to draw one is my favorite.
All right, guys. We'll catch y'all later.
Later.